Okay, we've now collected all of our zone information. We have our irrigation issues documented, and our program is now complete. So we can see, based on our the run cycles per day, days per week, and runtime per each zone, combined with the flow rates, we can now calculate our monthly water use just for this program for this month. So we're going to head back to our water budget and see what it is compared to what it should be. So I'm just going to use this back arrow. I'm going to select water budget. And I can either do the graph or the tabular. I'll go ahead and do the tabular so we can see actual numbers. Okay, so what we can see based on our water budget, which is the water expected water need based on landscape area, vegetation type, and local climate, we see that in May we could expect historically to use about 45,000 gallons, give or take a little bit more in each year. We've already compared it to but their historic water use in July is quite high, up 95,000 from 60. But now we have actual data that we know how much water their current program is using. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and delete this so it doesn't confuse them. And I'm going to use the information we collected, which was 145,000 gallons, to put that in. And that is going to give us a good comparison, both visually. So here we see on our water budget graph that my water need is blue, and my water use is brown. So I can see that I'm quite a bit higher this time of year. Now, granted, I could go and make an estimate for each month and populate each month, and that would fill out that whole water budget graph. Right now, I'm just going to use it as a proxy or representation of kind of overall watering practices. Say, you can expect to turn up the water since it's only May, and so you're going to continue this overwatering pattern. So you can do it either way, especially if you have a commercial and you have a dedicated irrigation meter. It's good to go in and put in each month. But for the sake of time, we're not going to do it here. Okay, so we know that we're overwatering. You'll notice this overwatering feature right here. So that is not an automatic calculation. That is meant for you to track your program over time. So I always encourage people to not measure their program by water use from year to year, because as we all know with irrigation, some years you're going to need a little more irrigation, some years you're going to need a little less. So if you're always tracking gallons, you're kind of chasing a moving target. But the whole point of our assessments is to try to get people to reduce the overwatering. So instead of tracking gallons, I encourage people to track overwatering percentage. So if you say, oh, I went this year and they were watering 300% over, but after the assessment, they were only overwatering by 50%, basically 150% of what they need, then you know you were successful. And you could track that from year to year instead of chasing gallons around. So here I can see they're using about 3 times as much. So I'm going to go ahead and use that lightning bolt and hit 300+%. And I'm going to use that as my way to track assessments over time. And it's going to download in the database at the end of the year. And we're going to be able to start doing some analytics, some statistical analysis on if our program was affected based on overwatering percentage. Okay, so we know that we want to be using about 45,000 gallons in May, and we'll just keep it in our mind. Peak season about 60,000 gallons. Okay, so this is where we're going to be able to take all of this information and directly help the homeowner with adjusting the program. So we will do that in the next video.